Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Lord. I am one of the trainers on this call today. We're going to be covering some fantastic stuff. I'll be covering a bit about diversification, and then Ray St. Clair will be talking about and covering in depth the importance of the follow-up after someone has seen the presentation, which is an extremely important part of the business. So I'll be talking about today diversification. And is diversification a good idea? Well, it actually depends on the diversification. And I'll explain that in a second. So there's good diversification and bad diversification. So the good diversification is where you're looking to invest in assets that make you money. So things that are completely outside of network marketing, things like rental properties, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, and startup companies. These are things that I'm already interested in. I particularly have investments in startup companies, and as time moves forward, I will definitely be looking at cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, even precious metals, and also rental properties. One thing I would say, it's something you'll hear a theme of this training, is that I wouldn't start doing that until you've got the money. So focus on making the money first, and then you can diversify into these kinds of areas. Now, the bad diversification is trying to build more than one network marketing business. Now, guys, this is quite controversial because I know there's possibly people on this call that are doing just that. So, it's really important to stress, I'm not your boss. All I'm doing is sharing my experience with you. It's up to you what you do from there, but this is from my experience, and not only my experience, many of the world's top networkers around the world understand this. So why is it a bad idea? Well, first of all, it seems like such a good idea, doesn't it? On paper. By building more than one business, you can make twice the money. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you're having one business, you can make money. If you have another business, you can make twice the money. So therefore, let's have a third business or even a fourth business. You can just keep adding more and more money by doing that. And if one business doesn't appeal, the other one might. So if you're showing someone one business and they say, nah, it's not for me, you can then immediately say, well, listen, I've got another business here that I can show you that you might appeal to you. Safety in numbers. So if one of the businesses fail, and this is often one of the main reasons why I hear networkers do this, it's because they've been so burnt by the industry, because there's so much rubbish out on the market, that they actually have got to the point now where they're going, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer multiple businesses. So if one or more fails, at least we're going to have one business. It's not going to be such a disaster. I mean, what a brilliant idea. That makes complete sense. We can sell it as a package. We can offer a one-stop financial solution. We can point out to people that, we are financial gurus. We've done our research on the market. And so we're going to offer you 3 amazing businesses that will all make you money. So all of this sounds great. It really does. And of course, this is why people do it. However, there is a very, very harsh reality, something that I'm going to point out to you now. First of all, it sends out an absolutely terrible message. Think about this. If I come to you and I sort of say, I've got a really good business that I'd like to show you, and you go, it's not for me. I then go, well, so this is my one business, and now under this, I've got another business I'm going to show you. So if that's no good, then I've got another business. How does that, do you think, come across to your prospect? Does it come across to your prospect that you have belief in your business? The fact that you're saying to people, listen, guys, these businesses fail all the time. So we're going to give you 3 businesses. So just in case 1 or 2 fails, then you've got another business. Wow, what an amazing way to approach people. Fact that you're saying to them that most of these businesses are probably going to fail. So hey ho. And I've seen this, by the way. I've seen people do this, approach people in all seriousness and say, these businesses kind of fail all the time. So, if we do this, then, we might get lucky. Wow. You know, you could imagine if someone pitched you with that approach, how would you feel about that? Okay, the second thing is also when you, for example, let's say you're building a team of people and you then decide that you want to start up another business to run alongside, you then let everyone know in your team that this is what you're doing. Again, what message does that send out to your team? You know, people in your team are now going, what, don't they have belief in this business? You know, why are they looking at this other business? There's something wrong with this business. And this is what we see all the time. I've seen people building very significant businesses, and then all of a sudden they get distracted by something over here and they go, well, do you know what? We're going to run this alongside. And when they do, disaster. Their existing business goes splat, completely crashes overnight. And then invariably the new business is you know, probably not that great and will fail anyway. So this is one of the first things. It sends out a terrible message. It causes complete confusion. Okay, think about this, guys. You are probably, many of you on this call are probably new to Cash FX. Do you understand the bull and the bear? Do you understand the rewards plan? Are you very clear on how to move money in and out of Cash FX, withdrawals, that kind of thing? You know, are you very clear on the product and how that works? The answer is, and there are many other aspects of the business, the answer to that is probably no. Now imagine trying to know 3 businesses, or even 2. How confusing that will be. How do you train people on that? How do you train people? You'll be constantly, your whole life will be doing trainings on the different things. People will be so confused. If they want to approach the people they know, which one do they approach with first? I don't know. Should it be this side or should it be this side? I don't know. And if people are confused, guess what they do? Nothing. Key thing. So you've got to have that focus. Okay, so by doing more than one business, it causes complete confusion. Basically, the business is going to cost twice as much, isn't it? At the end of the day. So when you introduce someone to Cash FX, the minimum they can start with is $300. Now you're saying, well, you've got to start this other business, or even more than one business. So you've got $300 here, you get another $300 here, another $300 here. So it's going to cost you $900. Well, I've only got $300. Okay, well, which one do you want? Well, I don't know. Well, let me do a presentation on this one, then I'll do a presentation on this one, then I'll do a presentation on this one, and then you can decide. You're starting to get the message here, guys. That's ridiculous. There's only 24 hours in a day. And this is the key thing. If you want to make a bit of extra money, then fine. You can treat the business like a little hobby, etc. That's absolutely fine. But if you look at the big income earners in any business, it doesn't matter what business, it doesn't have to be Cash FX, any business around the world, I'll show you someone that is working 24/7. And that's the essence of this business. You work really hard for a short burst, a year, 2 years, if you're new to the business, maybe even 3 years if you were only just starting off. But you can go from nowhere to becoming a millionaire in Cash FX, even if you're someone that has never done anything, even not necessarily achieved success. It's that hard work that counts. You know, again, I love using, I will always use Hazel as the example because I think it's an amazing example. 68-year-old grandmother. She's never built anything like this before. She's got 42 people personally introduced, and she's got a team of 400 people now. So just think about that. But she is laser focused and she is working long hours in her business. You know, Brian and Roy and so many other leaders in my business, my Irish team, my Norwegian team, all over the world, they are working 24/7 on their business. Why? Because they want to be able to get to the top of the business. So if you're doing one business, that is hard enough. You know, someone phoned me up, not phoned me up, he sent me a message and I responded at 2 a.m. in the morning. And they said to me, Richard, don't you ever sleep? And my response is, well, I've got plenty of time for sleep. Right now, I'm building Cash FX. You know, a year from now, you know, I'll be able to get plenty of sleep. You know, I'll be earning money in my sleep. And that's this business. When you first start, the analogy I love to use is pushing a big snowball up a hill. You push, 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 push. If you then let the snowball go, it'll roll back down the hill. So you've got to keep pushing to get it over. That takes constant activity to be able to do that, to get to the big money. I'm talking about big money. You don't have to work 24 hours a day if you're, just want to make a bit of extra money. But the fact is, if you want to make the big money with CashFX, you have to put in the effort. And the fact is, there's only 24 hours in a day. So how can you make big money by building two businesses? You can't. There's absolutely no way. As it is, I get confused about who's in whose team and this, that, and the other. I'm doing calls all day long. You know, it's confusing as it is. Now I've got trying to do multiple businesses. It would be absolutely impossible. And the bottom line, and this is the bottom line, no one has ever managed to make big money building more than one business. Ever. Period. Full stop. When I first got involved in network marketing 20 years ago, I read a book by Mark Yarnell called Your First Year in Network Marketing. And he talked about this, the fact, there's a whole chapter in it, you only do one business. And often I hear people say, oh, well, this guy, you know, he's making a lot of money in more than one business. He might be, but let me tell you what he's done or she's done. What they've done is they've built one business and they've become a big leader in that business. And then they've decided to move their people across into another business. Not something I recommend, because I think it dilutes the message and all the other things that I've already said, but some leaders can get away with it, particularly online leaders can get away with that. But to be honest, I don't think it's the best way of doing it anyway, because of course the people in their business will not be able to do that. It'll cause confusion and everything else that I've already stated here. So, you know, if you look at, for example, Ray, who's going to be going through the second part of this training today, he has another business, but guess what he's done? He's built that business over, I'm not sure how many years it is, 13 years, I think it is. And, you know, he's built it, that income is now coming in. So what he's done is he's never looked at any other business during that period. He's focused on that business. That business is now built. It's making him a residual income. He's shown businesses all the time, but never been interested until he saw CashFX, because he can see how special CashFX is. So what he's done is he's joined CashFX, but he's completely leaving his other business alone. He's not going to approach one person in that business. He's starting his CashFX business from scratch. He's doing remarkably well. He's already got you know, a big team. He went executive in 24 days. So, but he's focused. He's focused on this business now. He's not doing anything with the other business, but he's not touching the other business. That's a great way of doing this. So this is a key thing, guys. No one has ever managed to make big money building more than one business ever. So if your goal is to make big money and you start doing another business, it ain't going to happen for you. It's impossible for you to make big money by building more than one business, as I've shown right here. And besides, why would you want to build another business? I mean, I don't get that. CashFX is easily the best business the industry's ever seen. The due diligence stacks up. It's a legacy company. This is why, by the way, I'm in this business, because of the fact that, you know, I've looked at all this. I mean, I could have been involved with so many companies over the years. I could have been one of the top founder members in USI, for example. I didn't go into it because it didn't stack up. This business stacks up. That's why I'm doing it. Now, I'm going to always say this. No such thing as a guarantee, guys. It just does not exist in business. If you're ever looking for that, you'll never find a business. But the fact is, there's the due diligence on CashFX stacks up, which means that it is an extremely good chance that we're going to have a legacy company here. And so therefore it is worthwhile putting in the effort. There's no upfront or monthly fees. Everyone makes money with CashFX, and that's a key thing. And 90% retention rate. These are amazing stats on a business, any business. And so it's also got easily the best rewards plan I've ever seen. I mean, you know, I've been in the industry 20 years, and looking at my current business and the money I'm earning 10 times more money for the team size than I've earned in any other business previously. And that's now. If you fast forward my business a few years from now, when everyone's, because currently most people are on the $300, $500, $1,000 contract, you fast forward a few years from now, you're looking at people on their 50s, 70, 100K packs. So you're looking like 100 times more money than any business that I've ever been involved in. So you've got all of these things. It's a business that is probably a legacy company. You've got no upfront fees. Everyone's making money, 90% retention. You've got easily the best rewards plan. Why would you go look at anything else? It just makes no sense. So this is the keys to life-changing income. First of all, do proper due diligence. You guys, you know, I think I'm starting to be called Mr. Due Diligence because it's something I bang on again and again and again. Most people are terrible at doing due diligence. Most people's idea of doing due diligence is looking online, which is about the last place you want to look if you want any serious due diligence, but that's what people do. But the fact is, if you do proper due diligence, you'll see that the business is almost certainly going to be a legacy business. That gives you the confidence to go out there and build a business. Now you select one business and only one. Now you may decide that isn't CashFX. I have no idea why you would do that, but fair enough. If you decide you want to go and do another business, then I would rather you focus on that business exclusively than trying to do two businesses, because that makes no sense. And besides, you can always come back to CashFX when another business almost certainly fails, as they always virtually do. Stay absolutely laser focused on that one business. And that's the key. If you look at anyone in the business that is successful in CashFX, they are focused on CashFX. Nothing else stands in the way. Gets back to what I was saying earlier. Yes, those diversification into things like, you know, property and crypto and stuff, these are great ideas, but you need to make the money first. So don't start sort of diversification, you know, until you get to the place where you've got the money to be able to do that. You know, don't go on you know, property seminars and things like this right now before you've got the money. Focus on making the money first with CashFX before you do that. Create a strong why. You know, again, when I see people that are getting to the end of the week and they made a couple of phone calls or something like that, they don't have a strong why. You know, yeah, CashFX is really good. You know, yeah, I reckon, you know, it might work, and, you know, it'd be really nice to make some money with it. You know, well, great, but you're never going to make the big money. If you're on a call like this, by the way, I'm assuming that you're all here to want to make a lot of money. So if you haven't got a strong why, it ain't going to happen for you. I'm telling you that right now. If you do not have a strong why, you're not going to be able to make it. Why? Because life is going to get in the way, guys. It's going to happen all the time. I hear it all the time from people. Yeah, I had to take the week off because, you know, I had to paint the fence or something. You know, it was important. You've always got to paint the fence. It's really important. Not strong enough why. Simple as that. You know, if you have a really strong burning desire to do something, nothing is going to stand in your way to achieve your goals. And that's the other thing. Set those goals. Have something to aim for. Again, if you look at the top income earners in CashFX, they're all goal orientated. By the way, previous trainings on that, if you haven't seen that one, do get back to that, because goal setting is crucial, guys. If you're not setting goals, same thing, you're just going to drift along. You're not going to go anywhere. And then you take massive action every single day until you hit those goals again and again and again. And as Bruce Lee says, a samurai is an ordinary man with laser-like focus. And this is something I see again and again in network marketing. It's a great leveler. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you have a strong enough why, you will find the how. You may have more setbacks. You may have more challenges than some people, maybe. Because everyone has challenges. You know, I have challenges every single day. Every single one of my leaders has challenges every single day. The fact is, if you're focused on what you're doing, you'll get around those challenges. So be focused and you will achieve your goals with CashFX. So please, please, please take this on board. Do not do more than one business, because if you do, that's fine. And by the way, we came up with this training because there were people in my business that I couldn't understand. They should have gone executive, but they weren't going executive. We thought, why not? You know, how come they haven't achieved this in short time frames? They should. We then looked at what they were doing and saw that they were doing more than one business. So they're not going to do it. Simple as that. So important. All right, guys, let me introduce you to the next speaker. Ray Sinclair is someone I've known for a long time. He is a world-class business builder. He's also a very successful businessman. He's made millions of pounds over the years in his software business. He's someone that has been in network marketing, I think, for 37 years. He's been the #1 income earner of 3 businesses. I've already mentioned he's the #1 income earner of his current business, which he's put onto one side. He's now building CashFX, and you know, and from what he's telling me, he's going to go flying past me at some stage. He wants to be the top income earner in CashFX as well, and he's well on his way to achieving that. He's went executive in just 24 days, and he's already building a massive team. And again, guys, if you see a leader this is a leader because he's on it, on it, on it, on it, on it every time. You know, it's quite funny. I phone him up or get in touch with him. He goes, sod off, I'm busy. Boom. You know, he's too busy, you know, and that's something I absolutely love. So he's out there. He has got a wealth of knowledge to share with you. And on this training, he's going to be covering the crucial part of the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So get your pens ready and make notes. This is, of course, going to be recorded, so you're going to be able to see it again if you want to. But this is going to be a fantastic training. So over to you, Ray.
Thank you, Richard, for that really amazing introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. As Richard said, my name is Ray Sinclair. I'm an executive in the business, and what I'd like to discuss with you today is part 4 of our Power Build system that we've been delivering over these last few weeks. And today, really, what I want to cover is following up and why the fortune is in the follow-up. You've probably heard this phrase before, the fortune is in the follow-up. You probably don't know who created it. It was a man called Jim Rohn. And I'm just going to pause here for a moment to discuss this. If you don't know who Jim Rohn is and you're in the network marketing industry, then you really do need to go and read some books by Jim. Because if you speak to anyone who's uber successful in network marketing, they will have studied the works of Jim Rohn. And they will have understood and put into practice the things that he recommends. And one of the things that he was really, really strong on was follow-up. And he coined this phrase, the fortune is in the follow-up, so that people would understand that actually the money is in the last part of the process of bringing in somebody to your business, which is the follow-up. If you don't do the follow-up, you won't make the fortune. And so Jim Rohn made this phrase famous and explained in great detail why it's very important, and we're going to give you some insights into that today. So the purpose of following up, well, the purpose of following up with someone is to give your prospect additional information about the opportunity, to answer their questions that they may have, and it's always best to be honest and say, if you don't know the answer to the question, say, look, I don't know the answer to that, but I am going to endeavour to find out for you. It's to also overcome their objections. And finally, and most importantly, it's to collect a buying decision. So those are the purposes of following up with people, okay? To give them additional information, answer their questions, overcome objections, and collect a buying decision. And the most important of those, when 99% of people fail, is they fail to collect the buying decision, okay? And we're going to look at that a little bit later. Now, the reality is, if you never follow up with people, you will have to work through an incredible amount of prospects to build your team. That's a fact. So if you never follow up, you're going to have to work through tons and tons of people to actually make any progress in team building. However, if you follow up with people the right way, you can reduce that number of people that you have to talk to build your team by at least 70%, maybe 80%, even 90% in some cases. So by following up with people in the right way, you are dramatically and drastically increasing your chances of bringing that prospect into your business, which will mean that your team will grow faster and your income will grow faster, okay? And it's important that you don't let fear win. It's important that you finish the job, okay? Many people don't follow up because they fear many things such as rejection or getting a no. There's nothing to fear. Absolutely nothing to fear, and there is nothing to fear, particularly when you understand what fear is. And fear is this: a false expectation appearing real. Okay, what that means is that you get an idea in your head. Oh, what if they say? What if they say no? What if this happens? What if they say this? And you then build on that fear, and actually, it's nothing. You don't know what they're going to say until you actually get in that conversation with them. Okay, so there is nothing to fear. So by facing down your fears, it's a fact that the more time you stay outside of your comfort zone, the more comfortable you become, until eventually you have no fear of being outside your comfort zone. Okay, the more you do that, the more comfortable you get in those spaces. Will Smith famously said, everything you desire is one step beyond your fears. And it's very, very, very true. So how do you overcome your fears? How do you face them down? Well, do the things you don't like doing. Okay? If you don't like following up people, do it. because you'll just overcome it, and eventually you'll get good at it and you'll enjoy following up. And that will help you to become fearless, okay? So, what's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is that they can say no. That's the worst that can happen, okay? That's absolutely the worst thing that can happen to you. They can say no, okay? We begin the following up process by reaching out after someone's been on the call with Richard, the brilliant calls that he does every day. So after the call, send your prospect a message. Now, if you have their mobile phone number, then this is a great way to reach out. And if you've been using the PowerBuild system and you particularly paid attention to part 3, you'll know how to get their phone number every time without even asking for it, okay? So, what might that first message look like? Well, it's a simple message. It says something like, hi, and we'll say this person's name, John. Hi, John. Thanks for attending our free workshop the other day. I'd love to get your feedback. Would you be available to join me on a short Zoom call tomorrow so that we can chat? Please let me know. Thanks, your name. Okay? So it's very simple. It's not a pitch. You're not trying to sell the product or the opportunity. You're merely trying to get them into a call with you. Okay? That's all you're trying to do. You're merely trying to get them into a call with you. Nothing more. If you also have their email address, then send them an email with exactly the same wording. Okay? This is what that email might look like. So put their name and email address, at the top there. And for the subject, I keep it simple. I put something like, John, thanks for attending, ... Now, that's the sort of subject line that will get the person who's reading it interested, because, to be fair, it might be a day or two after they've been on the call when you're following up, and they might have forgotten that they actually went on the call, okay? But by putting something like that, hey, thanks for attending, they're going to go, oh, what did I attend? Oh, I'm going to have a look. I'm going to read that. And you then say, hi, name, thanks for attending our free workshop the other day. I'd love to get your feedback. Would you be able to join me on a short Zoom call tomorrow so that we can chat? Please let me know. Thank you, your name. Very, very simple. So give yourself the best chance of getting a response. If you have their email address, send them an email. If you have their SMS address or number, send them a text message, okay? If you can reach out to them on Facebook as well, reach out to them on Facebook with exactly the same message. If you've got their LinkedIn account ID, reach out to them on LinkedIn. Use every available channel to you that is available to reach out to them, okay? The more you reach out to them, the more likely they are to respond and say, hey, it's not for me, or hey, yes, I'd like to get on a call with you, okay? Don't just rely on one form of communication when you have 3 or 4 available to you. Give yourself the best chance of getting a response. So the mission of the first message is simply to get them into a Zoom call with you, okay? What you're looking to do is to get face-to-face with someone, because you'll stand a much better chance of signing them up. And the reason for that is that it humanizes it. If you look at any television advertising, you generally find that there's humans involved, there's actors and actresses involved. Why? Because we as human beings, we respond far better to human faces and voices than we do to text on a screen or email messages or SMS messages. So if you really want to personalize this, get face to face with them. And consider this, that up until this point, all the communication that they've received in relation to this has been in cyberspace. Also consider that even though they went on a live call with Richard, that too for them was in cyberspace. And some people don't even know that it's a live call. They think it's recorded, okay? True. I've had people come up to me and say that was a great recording. And I say, it wasn't a recording, it was actually live. And they go, oh, really? Oh, yes, it was. So by bringing it out of cyberspace, so to speak, and humanizing it, you stand a much better chance, okay? Now, when you get them on that face-to-face call, what's the first thing you need to know? Well, the first thing you need to know is, did they go on the call? But importantly, you need to ask this question without asking this question. Now, that may sound like a very, very strange statement to you, but you need to ask this question without asking this question. So, how do you ask that without asking it? How do you ask, did they go on the call, yes or no, without asking it? Here's how I ask the question. I would get on a Zoom call with them. I'd say, hey John, thanks for attending the workshop the other day. It's lovely to finally meet you at last. Can I ask, Did you enjoy it? And that's how I ask the question without asking the question. Because their answer will tell you whether they went on the call or not. They may say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't manage to get on the call. That's fine. Or they say, I didn't manage to get on the call, but I'm going to go do it tonight. That's okay. Or they may say, yes, I went on the call. Yeah, I did enjoy it. Okay? Their answer will tell you whether or not they went on the call. So you can ask that question without asking that question, which is great. Now, if they didn't manage to get on the call, this is very, very important. Never show disappointment. Okay? Never show disappointment. Simply say with a smile on your face, hey John, look, that's no problem. Our next workshop is at tomorrow at X time. Would that work for you if I sent you a link? Okay? Always be happy. Don't ever let anyone disappoint you. Because at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. They just missed the call time. You know, people have busy lives. They have kids, children, wives, jobs. And it's not always possible for them to get on a call when they say they will. So just accept that as part of what we do and be happy about it. As long as they get on the call some point, you stand a chance of bringing them into your business. So always be happy, okay? Now, if they did attend the call, your next question is absolutely critical. I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. We call it the death question. Because if you ask this question, it's deadly. It is a prospect killer if you unleash it. And now you're all sitting there hushed and thinking, ooh, what's the death question? What is it? I'm going to show you what the death question is. The death question is, what did you think? Never, ever, ever, ever ask this question. Because the moment you do, you're doomed. Okay? Your prospect is going to hell in a handcart. And the reason you should never ask this question is because people generally can't think. And by asking them to think, you're putting them on the spot. And they can't think when they're put on the spot. So their natural and immediate reaction is to automatically give you the answer that doesn't require them to think. And I think you can guess what they will say. They'll say, it's not for me. I don't do that. I'm not interested. I'm too busy. I can't afford it. Because that's far easier for people to do than have to think back to the call last night, try and remember something about it that it's just easier for them to say no. Because you asked them the death question. Okay? I guarantee when you say to somebody, what did you think? They'll just go, yeah, and that noise that they make, it's not for me. That's them churning around in their mind to think, how the hell can I get out of this? Okay? So, what is the correct opening question? Well, the way I ask that question is I simply say, when I'm on the call, hey, John, thanks for going on the call. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Now, tell me, John, what part or feature of the workshop did you like the best? That's how I ask the what did you think question. I just word it differently. But even now, there's a prospect that I'm asking them to think. Even now, I'm heading towards the death question again. Because, again, they'd have to think back to last night. They'd have to think about what features were available. And again, they might just say, well, actually, I didn't really like any of it. And that's their reaction to not being able to think. So there's a part 2 to this that I always add in. And it goes like this. Hey John, what part or feature of the workshop did you like the best? Was it the passive income side or the business opportunity that attracted you the most? So now they don't have to think. Because what I've done is I've presented them with a multiple choice answer. All they have to do is simply choose one of the 2 choices that I've given them. And people do far better in multiple choice exam papers than they ever do with questions where they have to think. That's why most exams these days are multiple choice, because it's easier for people. So I simply say, hey John, what part or feature of the workshop did you like the best? Now, was it the passive income side that attracted you, or did you really like the business opportunity? Was that what attracted you most? And they might say one or the other, okay? Because they simply have to choose. Give them the options, let them choose. And as you can see, we're beginning to lead them down a path here. Now, we're getting close to that point where we're going to collect that buying decision. So, What if they say to you they like the passive aspect of this business? I simply say, hey John, yes, look, I agree with you. The passive element of this is wonderful, isn't it? So look, why don't we get you registered now so that you can start receiving those passive profits right away? Shall we do that? So I've now asked for that buying decision. I'm collecting the buying decision. If they like the opportunity aspect, and you're going to smile when you see this, I simply say, hey, John, yeah, I agree with you 100%. The opportunity is very exciting and very lucrative, as you can see, isn't it? Look, why don't we get you registered now so that you can start earning commissions right away? Shall we do that? So you can see immediately, whatever they like, I agree with them. Hey, John, yes, the thing that you like, passive or active, is exciting, wonderful, super, brilliant, rewarding, lucrative, isn't it? Use all those lovely adjectives. And then I ask exactly the same question, regardless of what they tell me they like. Hey, why don't we get you registered now so that you can start earning commissions or profits right away? And then I round it out by saying, shall we do that? And I'm putting some musicality into my voice, and it's almost like I'm putting my arm around them and saying, hey, come on, let's get going. Okay? I'm not really asking them for, to join, but I'm asking them to join. I'm collecting that buying decision from them by the careful choice of my words and the careful use of my language. Okay? And once you adopt this skill and you learn this skill, it becomes very, very powerful for you. Okay? Then, once I have got them to the point of agreement where they go, yes, okay, sign them up. But I always hold their hand, and you must do the same. If you don't hold their hand throughout their sign-up procedure until they are registered and pack purchased, they may lose interest, because we all know that there are a few steps to getting somebody signed up into our business. So just work with them, okay? Show them how to do it. Show them how the steps work. It's like teaching a baby to walk. You have to hold the baby's hand at first, but eventually the child will learn and begin to stand on his own 2 feet. And you have to treat your new sign-ups like that baby who hasn't learned to walk yet. So you have to hold their hand. And by holding their hand, you are teaching them how to sign up people. Okay? So that brings me to the end of this section on following up. I hope the information that you've received here has been really useful to you. I hope that you can put it to use in your CashFX business, and I hope now that you understand absolutely both the importance of and the methodology of following up that allows you to see where the fortune is in the follow-up and be a person who builds your business on follow-up. Okay? Don't be afraid of follow-up. Simply adopt the steps, do the work, and you will grow a massive team. If you look at any leader in CashFX, you will see that we are all adamant about follow-up. We all get with our prospects after the call. We don't just leave them hanging, and we reach out to them and we make Zoom calls, etc., etc. So thank you very much for your attention today. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for attending this CashFX team training, and here's to your success.